Well, hello and welcome to Watch What Crappens. I'm Ronnie, and that's Ben over there. Hello, Ben.
Hi, Ronnie. How's it going?
So good. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm great. Back in my childhood bedroom, made a quick whirlwind trip to New York to honor my mom on her retirement. She had a retirement party. But now I'm here in my childhood bedroom, and conveniently, I don't know why my dad did this, but he pulled out some Knicks memorabilia that I had. And so in honor of Charles Oakley, the Oak, look, here's a Knicks shirt I used to have. See, can you see it on camera? This is a Crappens on Demand exclusive, as me holding up a Knicks shirt. Just to prove that I used to really love the Knicks. I mean, I still love the Knicks, but I used to be really into the Knicks when I was a kid.
Well, if
love
it makes you
Charles
feel better,
Oakley.
I believed you.
Thank you.
Unlike the internet, it was like, Ben's a fucking liar. Ben never liked the Knicks.
He never liked Charles Oakley. He never did.
I always believed
He
you.
liked arts and crafts.
Yeah. Well, everybody, welcome to Real Housewives of Atlanta season finale day. Don't worry. There's a 3-episode reunion coming up.
Is it really 3 episodes? They don't have 3 episodes of content.
They announced on the end
That's
at this
crazy.
3-part reunion. What bullshit are you going to try and fill my life with on these last 3 episodes? You're testing me, show. You're testing me. Okay.
2 episodes fair, but 3, I mean, look, and I like the season, but you're missing, you don't even have Britt Eady there. Thankfully, I'd like to add, I'm okay with not having Britt Eady there, but that's also some content. Like, how do you get 3 episodes out of this thing?
Yeah. But that's what they're going to do. Meanwhile, go catch our Love Island recaps over on Patreon. We just did a nice long hour-long one, I think. We're doing those Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Next week will be a little different. We're still going to do a couple of days, but it will be later in the week due to the holiday. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it.
Taking a few days off, okay?
Yeah, it's a holiday. It's a holy
Holiday.
day.
Independence Day, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's for everything coming up. Thanks for everybody's support on Patreon. We love doing those recaps. Also, this week we are adding in McBee Dynasty to the lineup, at least for a week, to see how that goes. What a trashy fucking show that is! I loved it.
Yeah,
that show is garbage. Yes,
it is garbage. But it comes out. I thought it premiered last night, but it premieres tonight. But we both have watched it, and we both will probably have a lot of things to say. Look, as long as we can, if we find the way into the comedy, then that's all that matters to me. It could be a big pile of poop as much as it wants to be, but as long as it's funny for us to do, that's all.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean garbage in a good way. I watched the whole first season leading up to this, and I figure if I can watch 10 hours of Love Island a week, I can watch 10 hours of McBee Dynasty for a week. And it is
of hate farm.
Of what?
Instead of Love Island, Hate Farm.
Yeah,
because they hate each other.
I loved it. I mean, it's garbage, and it's my favorite kind of garbage. And the women on it are so fucking funny. They've got Galina, the Russian money launderer. It's like going absolutely fucking nuts. It's so good. So watch it if you haven't. We'll be back. We'll be here for at least one recap this week, and then also Real Housewives of Orange County returns in like 10 days.
Week.
11 days.
Yeah, next week.
Crazy.
Next Thursday.
It's crazy.
I heard it's a crazy one. I heard it's a crazy, crazy season. Looking forward to it. And also, by the way, I just want to say something. This is a public service announcement. Everyone this week, you have one job and one job only, and that's to watch Real Housewives of Miami, because I don't like hearing stories that its ratings are low. I don't like hearing that, because it is one of the best housewives well, it is the best Housewives that's currently airing, for sure, and it is one of the best that's in the quiver. So everyone, if you don't watch Miami, do yourself a favor. I'm not asking, like, you're not doing the show a favor. You're doing yourself a favor by watching Miami, because it is so good. And you should.
Yeah, stop hurting yourself by sitting out.
Hurt yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, don't sit out. Get in there. Get in the game.
Now, do they have people throwing themselves their own Beyonce concert with, their married money? I don't know. No, probably not. But it's still worth it.
100%.
Okay, so let's get back to this one. Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 17. Game over.
Yeah. So we're going to tie up a whole bunch of loose ends. So pretty much the first half of this episode is like lots of little vignettes of what's going on in people's lives. So we start off with Portia and Lauren, who are their cousin Londi just died last week on the show, and so they're obviously very emotional. So we're seeing them. They're sort of going to be gathering people to remember her, etc.
So they go to Phaedra, because that's where you go. And as Phaedra says, she's like, well, Portia and her family have asked me to assist with the homegoing for Londi, because everyone knows I'm definitely the chairman of the Usher Board for Heaven. I love that Phaedra just takes such pleasure in it. She's like, I'm so sad that Londi's not living, but I'm so glad that she's passed. Let's talk turkey. What kind of casket would you like? 20, 30, 40,000? Come on, it's for Londi.
Yeah. So they are all sort of talking and remembering Londi and everything. It turns out that like Londi, she passed away while she was on the phone with Lauren, I feel bad for Lauren. That's got to be a lot that she carries with her about that. That's just so traumatic. But they're just remembering Londi, and it's like sad, but it's nice.
So they're going to have a memorial and stuff. And then when Portia's like, I thought this was going to be my year. I guess it wasn't, because she got divorced and then all this stuff had happened. And then Londi happened. But now they're talking about a mango dish. So that's good. So then we go over.
Just goes to show life goes on. Oh, the next scene,
I can't believe this wasn't my year. And this happened. And Londi, by the way, what's this mango dish? Love this.
So now we go to Angela, and she meets up with her therapist, Dr. Wendy. And I have to say, it's about time we finally saw a real therapist on one of these shows, because we see all these people who are so excited to be on TV. They're very slick. They're very TV ready with their catchphrases and everything. They have their hair blown out. Dr. Wendy, I was like, this is a therapist. She has all these like trinkets all throughout. She has like dream catchers in her office, long gray hair, this very like empathetic face. She like listens to like Yanni and does like weird tantric sex on the side. I was like, this is a therapist.
I think she has the face of somebody who is about to have to drive for half an hour, and they're looking on Google Maps and seeing that it's like an hour and 15. That's her face. She's like, one eye is kind of closed and the other is open. She's like, what the fuck? That's her face. She's like, oh, what the fuck are you saying to me right now, Angela? All right. Did you want that? She's got an honest face, because I feel like in therapy, therapists are supposed to maintain like a blank face. Like, I'm not judging you. I'm not reacting. I've heard it all, but not her. She's like, what the hell? Come on, Angela. And I like that look of confusion on a therapist's face.
Yeah, I feel like she looks like an elderly Jean Triplehorn, so I appreciate that as well. And I think that I also just think it's funny because like she's just this hippie lady, and I just think it's so funny that like she sees Charles Oakley. And that she's been seeing Charles Oakley for years. Like, you would think this would be the sort of lady that Charles Oakley would be like, I'm not talking to this crazy lady. But like, no, she's been seeing Charles and Angela for like 8 years now or something like that.
Yeah, so it's not some fake relationship, which I like. So Angela's like, we go to Wendy for all these years because I need advice on how to deal with my husband and all that comes with him. Because, he's handsome, he's famous, he has money, he's successful. Any one of those things would attract women. And I just love that her list doesn't include kind, treats me well. He's like the perfect husband. Who wouldn't be jealous? She's just like, he's rich and famous. Okay. Yeah. And so I need to learn how to deal with that.
So Dr. Wendy's like, so tell me what's happening beyond bongo lessons. That's me, actually. You may notice there's a bongo in the background. Okay, I've just been learning some beats. Tell me, Angela, what's going on? She's like, well, I mean, I have all my money in these houses and, I'm about to ditch all of them. She's like, okay, you're going to ditch them emotionally or physically? She's like, physically. Yeah, financially, all of the above. I can't have any of them. So she's like, wow, that's too much. Would you like to play the bongo? That might help you. No, thanks. It's just don't distress these houses.
Caught your dream. All right, let me look at your, God damn it, your dream's depressing. Well, I'm not going to go to sleep anytime soon. all right, let's work on this. Real estate. So what are we going to do with this? And she's like, I'm fucked. I'm taking money from Charles and he's over it, you know? And she's like, and I trust Charles and it took me a long time to trust Charles, you know? And she goes, well, yeah, because you shouldn't have trusted Charles. She goes, well, I know he deserved it. But, you know, now I've talked myself into trusting Charles again, really for no reason. And I should have listened when he told me it was a bad idea.
And she's like, you know, the other day, Charles and I went to a cooking event, and while Charles was cooking, a gentleman walked up to me and said, I want to tell you something about your husband. And then he said, this is also my Instagram account, and here's my Twitter account. And then he started doing a dance for the cameras, and until the producer said, okay, you're doing too much. We didn't pay for all this stuff. So then he says, hey, here's a toast to Angela, whose husband's cheating on her. And afterwards, I was like, I told Charles what happened, and he's like, oh, whatever they're saying is a lie. Someone put him there.
Okay. You know how much I love you, right? That's never going to change. But right now, you doing this scene, all I see is Austin from Love Island in therapy.
Yeah, sorry. I like my Angela voice is in a weird place today.
You're doing Austin from, you're like, you know what? It's been really difficult. We were just trying to make waffles.
I was just trying to make waffles at Williams Sonoma. And a guy walked up.
Oh my God. So
yeah.
So basically Charles was like, okay, well, I'm not even going to talk about this. You trust me, right? And so I think Wendy handles this one pretty good. She goes, wow, so what's your theory? Because basically Charles has cheated multiple times from what we're getting from this therapy, right? Is that Angela didn't trust Charles for a reason because Charles was always cheating on her. And so now she's finally talked herself into trusting Charles again, but now someone's making public accusations of cheating. And Dr. Wendy's just like, okay, dum-dum, what's your theory? Why is this guy randomly coming up? And she says, well, my theory is that Charles and I have been through a lot. That's not a theory, okay, first of all. So she goes, but I trust him now. And she's, you know, she doesn't want anyone to think that Charles is an easy target. So she's going to stand up for him.
Yeah. And so Dr. Wendy's like, I mean, you know, he said he wakes up at night having been targeted. I mean, he says, I'm going to get attacked, right? I'm going to get attacked. And she's like, well, Wendy, now I'm doing Austin voice. I can't get out of it. Wendy, no, Wendy, I don't want to go there. And she's like, I know. This is a confused place for you, honey. I know that. But, you know, just speak it to the bongo. It's like, well, after Kelly's event, Charles and we were both confused as to why someone would approach me and lose all the properties. And I'm clinging on to my family, and they've been my support. And who would send someone to hurt me and potentially destroy my marriage?
So she's like, well, you have to address it, right? And she goes, but I've just got so much going on with real estate. She goes, yeah, but you have to address this. Like, therapy isn't for real estate, okay? It's for your relationship. So she says that she's tired of her relationship being a target. And she's like, okay, but you also need to do it because you want to make a statement about you know? So what's the statement you want to make? And she goes, my statement is leave me the fuck alone.
Dun,
like,
dun,
okay.
dun.
So what will her statement be? I don't know, but I hope we can have a gala to deliver it.
Yes, speaking of gala events, let's go see a musical gala, as in Shamia throwing a concert for herself. The most exciting thing you could ever imagine.
Yeah, so she says she's doing a showcase. I mean, I don't know. I've been to a lot of showcases living in Los Angeles, and they're usually in like some little black box theater. And, you know, you get up there and you play a few songs, and then you serve some $2 chuck from the Trader Joe's. I've never seen anything like this. This was a lot. I mean, basically to me, this was showcasing that you married an extremely rich person who's giving you money to do whatever the fuck you want. And I think in this kind of situation, that doesn't matter. Like, you want to show that you're talented. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Get up there and sing a song, Shamia. You don't need 20 fucking outfits and $20 million to do it. It makes it look worse.
It's just like, I feel like she's trying to do like the pop star thing, but like, so she's doing all the outfit changes and everything, but I'm like, I still feel like it's still like going from like one matronly look to another matronly look. And I just feel like if you're trying to do pop, I'm sorry, the pop is the most ageist genre of all, and like at least try not to look so matronly. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's not matronly. Maybe like my matronly dar is off. But I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like she
matronly for a pop star, because you are a certain age and there is ageism, and I think that the ageist stuff is real, and I think that there's no competing with that. You know, like when you're young and you're like, you know, like when you're a Sabrina Carpenter and you're like rolling around on the ground or whatever, you can't sing like this. And everyone's like, that's great. But when you get older, to stay in the business, you have to actually kind of sing. You know what I mean? I think she should just pick up the mantle from that place and be like this, and still look great, still look fabulous. I'm not saying like come out in a bathrobe, but she should concentrate more on the singing and less of the like trying to do 20 outfit changes, because she's missing notes all over the place. So you need to stand there and just concentrate and sing your notes.
I think it's that she's like trying to do like all these edgy looks, but she still has this kind of like, you know, Aunt Shamia's come over for lunch kind of hair, you know, like that's like her little bob is like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a disconnect between like how she's like how she styles herself and then also like the clothing that she's wearing. I don't know. But I'm like, this is just not working for me. I'm sorry. It's just in terms of like what she's trying to achieve. So she comes out and she's going to do this whole thing. And it's also kind of sad because you can see there's like not a lot of people there. Like it's like like just massive amounts of empty seats in the background. You can see that they moved the audience like over in the theater to fill up the seats. That way it looked more full for the camera. They had to do tight shots on everyone. And I was like, oh, like I want Shamia to win. And I felt like, oh, I don't know. I didn't feel like this was a strong moment.
It was making a lot of wrong turns. Okay.
Yeah.
So people come, she does this big show. She keeps changing outfits and missing notes and stuff. And she, you know, she's doing things where it's kind of like have you ever seen like a Beyonce documentary? I saw one years ago where it was some TV kind of behind the scenes documentary for one of her concerts. And she's like, I'm in Vegas, and one thing I'll always bet on in Vegas is myself, you know? And so she was trying to kind of get that vibe. This is like this BTS documentary of Shamia, and she has these amazing singers that do backup. And she's like, and so I wake up in the morning and then there's a long pause while she points them. And then they do like the Destiny's Child, get your t-shirt on. She's like, yes, that's it. You guys finally got, okay, you're hiring 3 backup singers that can out-sing the fuck out of you. Just stand there and sing your song, Shamia. Come on, man. So then everybody's seeing each other for the first time since the last confrontation. And Phaedra's like, well, it's the first time I've seen Kelly and Britt since they scared everybody at my all-black affair. So I'm hoping we can resolve this, but I'm guessing that's why they're the fake freaking frack. Freaking frack. Makes more sense, but
just because if you're going to be freaking frack, you can't fight back. So then Kelly is, of course, ignoring Britt, and she's like, you know, I've showed up for Britt as a friend, and you know, the friendship and the love just was not reciprocated. I mean, how many waffles do I have to make someone before she makes me a waffle in turn? It just saddens me that she hasn't been there for me the same way that I've showed up for her. So at this point, she's just non-existent to me. I mean, is she here? So it's Kelly's first rivalry and feud, which is very exciting for her. So she, of course, is ignoring Britt. They're both totally ignoring each other at this event. So then the show starts.
Ignoring each other by doing like like looking at each other and being like, I'm ignoring you. It's very first season Housewives fight.
And everyone in turn is ignoring them, ignoring each other. You can see they're trying to really like make it a thing, and everyone like just does not care.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like a double showcase, and it's kind of failing on every level. You've got Shamia's showcase failing. You've got these 2 new Housewives showcase failing. It's all kind of going down at the wrong time. You wasted your money, sir. Okay. So then we hear from Miss Pat, who's the host, that Shamia has been singing ever since she came out of her mama's vagina. And so she comes up and she's like, yeah, I've doubted myself in so many ways, but it all comes down to now. This is the moment that I've been praying for. You prayed to give yourself a showcase? Stop acting like you're backstage at the Grammys.
Yes. So she comes out, she sings. So she's like she's really rusty in the beginning. She's nervous and she's like, "Ah." And then her producer's like, come on, bring him to church. Come on, you can do this. So then she comes out and then she gets on the piano and she starts singing and she's much better. She gets it together somewhat, but not quick enough to avoid Drew telling us, I personally never had this much trouble hitting a note. I'm like, well, can we roll the footage of Drew's big singing debut on this show when she was doing her duet with Candace Dillard, where all she sang was, Now, I know Drew is a singer.
They did show her actual debut, which was singing her single to Ralph at the reunion.
Which is my favorite. I love when they pull out that clip because they always show her singing and it always cuts to Ralph just sitting there like, what am I doing here? But I just...
Get into the basement. Get into the basement. You got cameras in my house and you go to Florida. I'm not dumb. Don't treat me like I say da. Go to the basement. I'm like, we've never seen you hit a note on this show. What are you talking about, hot dog lady? You sound like hot dog steaming.
It still is like one of my favorite things they ever did on the show was have her sing to Ralph at the reunion. It was so silly. Oh, just his look.
So Drew's trying to do this like, oh my God, as the resident singer in the group, Drew, just stop. Just stop it. Yeah. And it was, I don't know, mostly I find Drew funny on this show, but, even though I'm kind of ragging on Shamia's performance, I didn't like Drew doing it. I still felt
exactly. I didn't want Drew to do it. I mean, Drew, you're releasing an album that was produced by a hot dog vendor. Okay, let's just not forget that right now, because apparently the producers did, because that storyline just went away, even though it was so much of the first half, and we didn't even get an update on it. But that's fine. So Shamia does this whole thing. It's like this is an above and beyond as a showcase. Like, I mean, the fact that she has Miss Pat being MC, the fact that she has an MC like this, the fact that she's doing so many costume changes, I can imagine 2, maybe 3, but it was like 7 costume changes. It was too much for a showcase.
Yeah, because that's also having people just sit there and wait for you.
Exactly, like, that's what I was thinking.
So then they start talking about the shot glasses. Well, Drew makes some shitty comments. She's like, Shamia's songs? I mean, she probably needed some more rehearsals. Like, maybe the mic was on, but it wasn't on, if you know what I mean. It needed to be off, probably. But you're Drew, so it doesn't really hold any water. So now we go to the after party, and they're taking shots, and even the shot glasses have Shamia's name written all over them. There's money everywhere. Which is great, I wish, money sounded good on the radio.
I know. I was like, I'm just imagining the record executive who was like, well, I wasn't sure whether or not to sign Shamia, but then I saw the shot glass and I thought, you know what? This lady could sell some merch. We're hiring her.
So now we're talking about Angela's gala. And she's like, we have a goal to feed 100,000 children that look just like us. And I'm like,
well, you don't have to tell me. We've been watching Charles cooking all season. I think he surpassed that goal by 500,000 at this point.
I just like the idea of children with tiny little perfect nose jobs and fans.
It's like a very literal charity.
Feed the children with tiny noses and handheld fans who've got 5 houses in foreclosure, and that's it.
Leave no child hungry or unfanned. make sure they all have a teeny little.
Leave no child without a BBL.
So they are going to cook. It's a nice foundation. They're gonna. It's about providing food in underserved neighborhoods, literally. So she can be doing this thing, and Drew is like, let us know what you need. And I'm like, yeah, you should really be very explicit about this, because if you're not careful, Britt's going to show up with like another package of brawny, and then that's it. That's all you're going to get from her. So
really say what Drew's going to show up with some fucking to-go boxes in her trunk.
Then Drew is asking Kelly how many followers she has, and Kelly has like 150,000, and Britt's like, oh,
talking about fake followers, she grew 80,000 followers in one day.
Britt, you know that you're not the one to talk about fakery, because we're about to watch you pretend to buy a private plane when you can't even buy cottage cheese for your guests at your function.
Yeah, and Kelly doesn't even deny it. She's just like, well, I didn't know that somebody was stalking my page. She goes,
Yeah, well, we were close, so I would see it, because you were posting me.
she's like, yeah, because you wanted to be in a competition. She goes, yeah,
Yeah, well, tell your followers to donate.
Kelly's like, listen, if there's a certain amount, you got to say it now because some of us don't know how much to bring. I was like, oh, I guess Kelly said the joke that I said, which is then we see again, like them scolding Brit for not bringing anything to charity. And Phaedra says, we don't need another debacle about who's giving what, who drives a Rolls Royce, and who's carrying a Birkin bag, because in this group, honey, the girls might have it, but they might not know how to give it. So then Shamia joins and she's like, thank you so much. And they all hug her and they're so proud of her. And she's saying, this is what sisterhood is about. This is what it's all about. This is support. This is sisterhood. And I never even hear you yelling at each other from the stage. So thanks for not fighting over my singing.
okay, let's fight now. So, Britt, Cynthia came earlier and told me that you told Portia, that I was still talking shit about her, and I felt some kind of way about her. And then we see Cynthia telling her that. She's like, yeah, we met, and she tattletaled, so you better take care of it. And Britt's like, well, we see the flashback to Britt saying,
She showed me text messages between the two of you guys. Is that a real friend?
so then we come back, and Britt's like, well, but you have said things about her. And she's, what, Britt? And she's wearing her sunglasses. She's like, what? What have I said about her, Britt? She's like,
Yeah, that you didn't feel she was a good friend, amongst other things.
Shamia's like, girl, you are so lying.
Well, you showed me your text messages.
And she's like, I don't know why you feel the need to lie. She's like,
Why would I need to lie?
she's like, well, you're lying right now. And she says, I've never showed Britt anything. And Britt says,
You can deny and deny all you want.
because, she does that like high lilting sort of like,
You can deny all you want, but you can't lie about those text messages. When me and Kelly and Shamia all went out, Shamia showed me all the text messages and why she doesn't like Portia and why Portia's a hater.
God, she's so annoying. She is so annoying. So Shamia's like, you're just jealous. And she goes, because of Portia? And she goes, no, because of Kelly. She goes, but you talk shit about Portia. And she goes, oh my God, you're just trying to drag my name. You're exhausting. I gotta go. And she's like, well, is it not true about your text? And she goes, oh, so then you take a shot and get butt naked. So that's what you have to do. So, okay. So now you're going to shame her for being naked in trying to make you feel better about your sick child moment or whatever.
oh, yeah. I thought, yeah, exactly. And Shamia is just like, yeah, by the way, thanks for wearing clothes tonight. Thanks for wearing clothes. And Britt's like, did you see your daughter when you got to Miami? So then Shamia's like, now you're giving Shamia the license to start saying, don't bring up my daughter. Don't bring my daughter up. I have a child. How could you?
She goes,
Well, you did that whole situation in Grenada crying.
and she goes, keep your clothes on, Britt. She goes,
Yeah, and I thought you were honestly going through it. That's why I did a shot and showed you my boobs.
and she's like, well, don't bring up my daughter.
But the second you got to Miami, you were popping shots with Kelly.
As if that's supposed to mean anything. Like, you can still, like, be wanting to go home and do shots at the same time. That's okay. So Shamia's like, well, at least I'm not popping pills.
Oh, don't call me a pill popper, because I'm not.
And she's like, you are. I'm only calling what I see, darling. And she's like, well,
You were lying about what your daughter was going through.
oh my God. So now you're accusing her of making up a sick daughter storyline? That's crazy.
I know. Well, don't bring up my daughter, Britt. You are a lady of the night.
Oh, I'm a lady of the night? Wrong. I'm a lady of the night whose insurance license was suspended because of slander.
You're a streetwalker and a pill popper. And she's like,
I'm a streetwalker because I'm a wife.
oh my God, this fight just
It's not.
these
It's
fights
like
are
written by
idiotic.
AI. This was a chat
car
GPT fight.
This car has run out of gas, okay? So she's basically like, you're a slut. And she's like, you're a liar about your child. And then she's like, oh, really? I'm a slut? Well, you sleep around, Shamia. Shamia, you're married. And Shamia's like, well, there's always been rumors about infidelity about me since your cat was a kitten. And we know that was a long, long, long time ago.
And so they basically just just sort of fight away from each other. So then now, by the way, now that we're done with that, let's see what's going on in Kelly's home. Nothing interesting. I'm sorry to say, just when you thought there might be at last something interesting happening in Kelly's house, it is not. She is waking up her twins, and they wake up. And now we go over to Drew, and Drew is she's sitting with Ralph. She calls up Ralph, Ralph asks if he can come upstairs. If he can come out the basement. So she's like, yes, you have permission to come upstairs. And then we cut away from that. Now we go to Britt. This scene, so ridiculous. Britt and Mike are deciding to look at private planes. This reminds me of when Gretchen and Slade decided to go to like a Rolls Royce dealership to pretend like they were going to buy a Rolls Royce, as if they could like afford anything beyond a Mazda. So Britt's like,
Oh, wow. I like it. Do you think it's big enough?
literally... Normally, I would say, please go to Shut Up Mountain, except she has already taken herself there. So just enjoy the views.
Private plane. I hope this private plane is good enough for us, honey.
Brent, nobody believes this. I want to know how come I can't go test drive a Prius without proving I have enough money in my bank account, literally to the person. But Britt can just walk onto private planes.
Britt, you live in a townhome where you can touch both walls with both elbows at the same time, and that you can't talk about private planes and if they're big enough for what your needs are. No, sorry, this is all bullshit. This is bullshit. You're poor.
Yeah. So then we go back to Kelly's, and they're still talking about bacon, so I don't care. So then we go over to why is Kelly's scene still going on?
Because it's a whole thing about the restaurant. She's still not divorced. Doesn't want to open up the restaurant until she's divorced because that way she doesn't want her ex to have any access to it.
That's smart. You know what you should do? Just not pay the rent on it. And then that'll solve everything. Because I think that's what she ended up doing. She's just like, well, I don't want my husband to get it, so I just won't pay the rent. And surely that won't affect me in any way. Bye.
Yeah. That's not working. It didn't work for Jax Taylor. It's not going to work for you. So now we go back to Drew and Ralph's. And so Ralph has been released from the basement because the kids aren't around. So he's playing the piano. He's tickling the keys.
Tickling the ivories.
Tickling the ivories. And Drew's like, you missed the piano. He's like, oh, of course I do. Well, do you have something you wanted to talk about? Because I've decided to move the piano to the second floor, so it'll be even farther away from you. Okay, well... I think one of the big questions is, how did we get here? How did we get to this particular space? Well, I'm pretty sure you took the staircase that took you from the basement to the living room, so I think that pretty much solves that. Any other questions?
Yeah, we get a nice big fake and bake scene with these two where they're like, what went wrong with us? Why are we fighting all the time? It's like, I don't know. I just hope we can be there for the children. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I hope we're there for the children. What do you mean you two? Are we pretending Precious doesn't exist? You know, Precious is at home throwing shit at her TV. Like, I've worked all year to divorce this woman, and now here you are just throwing it all away.
Truly. Yeah, no, I don't believe any of this bullshit. Okay. And I love, like, how did we get here? I'm like, well, we can tell you. You just have to watch the past 3 seasons, and we watch your relationship fall. It was broken when you guys came onto the show. It got more broken, and then we had one season where you pretended like everything was actually better than ever, and then it was actually the most broken it's ever been. That's how it got to this place. And also Todd Tucker's movie.
And also, you can't give us a whole season of you guys divorcing and it being messy, and then him trying to release all this information and unsealing documents, and then the last time we see you leaving court with Precious, you're like, well, they just beat our asses in court. We need to know what happened in the divorce, who has the kids, who's getting the money, how much are you getting? I don't care if you're getting along. What the fuck is this? What kind of ending is this? I'm getting pissed off at this show now.
So then we go to Phaedra going on a date with, is it Che or Chi? How do you say his name? Chi-Chi. Oh, Chi-Chi. I remember him from Married to Medicine, but I didn't watch all that season, so I just couldn't remember. I remember he was on that beach fight, the brawl on Married to Medicine. But they go on their date because Phaedra is a last minute addition to the shows. They're just trying to like give any sort of scenes with her that they can. So they go to a winery, and she's like, who would have thought a winery in Georgia? I'm like, well, I would not have thought a winery in Georgia, but it doesn't mean just because there's a winery does not mean I'm curious to see if that wine was actually any good. Because Georgian wine good wine, or is it just like vinegar? I'm curious because, you know, we have some wineries in Southern California, and not the best, I have to say.
I don't think Chi-Chi was on Married to Medicine. Was he?
Wasn't Chi-Chi the one who was like, it turns out he was like friends with like Apollo?
I don't think that was the same guy. Chi-Chi's the one she met in a dating episode, like where they were single dating. But I think Chi-Chi was a friend of Apollo. I mean, I think there was another guy on that trip who was a friend of Apollo's who she brought, but I don't think it was
really
Chi-Chi.
tall guy. Okay.
I don't remember, but okay. So let's see, where are we now? So I don't have time to Google it. Could you tell I was Googling it? Now I have Google in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I was reading all about Chi-Chi and his medical supply business. It's like, he sounds hot. Okay. So they go on this date and they're just like, oh yeah, I'm so into you. And they like make out and stuff. And she's like, oh, I love mascarpone and I definitely love goat cheese. And only Phaedra could make a sex scene about cheese. Mascarpone.
Yeah. No. And he's like feeding her berries. She's like, ooh. And the producer asked her if she'd be open to marriage again. And she's like, not really that interested in it. But then she tells him that she's going to be going to a Charles Oakley Gala. And he could come in a jet or something like that. So then we go over to Britt and Mike's, and now Britt's whole family is gathered there because once upon a time there was a storyline going on with Britt where she's trying to get her family together. So they've now all gathered, and it's like the first time Britt's family and Mike's family have ever met or something crazy like that.
That is so weird. That is so. Oh, by the way, breaking news: it was Chi-Chi on Married to Medicine. You're correct. What the hell? And I did watch the whole season. So what the hell? Okay, so
it's a lot going on in the world. It's hard to retain information. I mean, either private planes that are about to be purchased by Brit. I mean, it's a lot to take on.
I just thought Chi-Chi would be in my mind as kind of a hero after almost kicking the ass of Dr. Greg. So I can't believe I don't have a poster of him in my room, actually. So we go to Brit's, and she's like, yeah, our families have never met, which is super bizarre. I'm not really sure what this chick is doing. She says it's because of COVID, but COVID was kind of a while ago. So
yeah. I mean, like, at least lockdown was. So I don't know. Everything she says.
That's what I mean. Like the pandemic lockdown.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like, I just don't believe really anything she says. I think there's more to the story. She's like,
well, we were going to get them together, but before our families could meet, State Farm had to approve it. And unfortunately, my family meeting other family license was revoked because of Kenya and more. So, another drama.
She's like,
even though I haven't always had the best dynamic in friendships, my family is everything.
You don't have your best dynamics in family either. You haven't been even speaking to your sisters until this season. So come on now.
That was like the whole premise of your storyline, is that none of you guys talk. And some story about the insurance company going down and everything. Yeah. So anyway, I was just very sad to see that this gathering did not include the little butler that she had earlier this season when she threw a lobster dinner for her family and tried to make it seem super fancy by hiring a butler in a black tie.
We loaded the plane so he could go see his mother.
So now it's time for the Charles Oakley Foundation Gala Day. So everyone's walking in, and Angela's saying, the Charles Oakley Foundation has been in existence since 2017. And Charles is, again, saying that it's important. They want to feed people, and they've had 3,000 people during the Super Bowl, and just a lot of people, and they're doing great work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So everybody starts to come, and Angela calls Drew, and she's asking her when she's coming, and Angela's like, Drew and I met with Marcus. So we see a flashback to 3 days ago, this meeting with this shady queen trying to get on TV. So Marcus is like, well, Charles has been in my restaurant twice with another woman. Okay, first of all, fuck your restaurant then. What's the name of this restaurant? Nobody go to this restaurant. If I'm not allowed to cheat on my spouse in a comfortable environment, why would I even eat there? You can't just go tell people what I'm doing in your restaurant, sir.
So, Marcus, I'm afraid none of us will be going to the kava you've been working in. So,
no, please don't make it a kava. I love that place.
I do love kava. I don't know why I took a shot at you, kava. Please forgive me.
Make it a chop stop if you're going to do that. Make it somewhere I avoid anyway.
Cheddars. So then, so we see the scene, and Angela's like, okay, so when did this happen? there's a guy named Alex that's there who's Marcus's employee, and Alex says, it happened probably in June. She goes, you're a liar. You're a bad liar. And we picked up on that bullshit immediately because my husband was coaching in the Big Three, and he was on national television at the time. Also, the Big Three is also what we call our foreclosures these days. We got 3 big foreclosures looming.
So she says, I know Marcus didn't act alone, and there's more to the story. So Drew on the phone is like, well, he just said that he hopes that we have his back. And, I was just like, well, tell the truth, and then we'll have your back. So now we go back to the flashback of the meeting with Marcus, and she's like, who put you up to this and got you into that event? That's what we want to know. And she goes, oh, you don't want to say it out loud, Marcus? You afraid? You want to write it down? So he writes it on his phone to show them. Come on.
This is so dramatic.
This is so stupid.
And also, like, if someone, I don't know if I believe anything this person says. So then Drew, they look at it like, oh my God. And Angela says, I just want to know why. What did I do to provide that type of action from her? But we'll see.
So now they're going to get to the bottom of it. So back at the party, Cynthia meets Chi-Chi, and then everybody's arriving and say hi and stuff. And so Portia's like, well, just because Britt said the other day that Shamia is still talking about me, that's so low on the totem pole when it comes to things that are pouring in my life. So if she has good energy, fine. If she doesn't, fine. What do I care? Like, I'm concentrating on my house.
Yes, they decided to bring back the house thing out of nowhere this episode.
Getting the house back.
They're like, oh yeah, remember this is in the season premiere. We decided we'd make this a through line. So everyone's saying hi, and Kelly is talking to Shamia and saying that, oh, you killed it the other night. You were great, and every song was a moment. You were so good, blah, blah, blah. Just really kissing her ass, etc.
And she's like, not everybody can handle this. And Shamia's like, yeah, well, I'm okay with that. She goes, yeah, they can't handle what's going on. And she's like, are you okay? Are we trying to make this about you now? Because I'm not really sure what you're talking about. And she's like, yeah, well, don't one monkey stop no show. And she goes, oh, so now Britt's like,
oh, Shamia's mad at me now, guys.
and they're like, why? And Cynthia goes, no, you remember the conversation she shared with us? And Britt's like, well,
I was just letting her know that, okay?
Yeah. And Cynthia's like, well, yeah, that she shared it with you and everything. So Portia's like, how did she know that what she said, what you told me? Cynthia's like, yeah, I told her. I said something. Sorry. Listen, some things were said. I don't like to be blindsided, so I just thought, I just want you to know. I put you on alert. So then Charles and Angela greet everyone, and we have the gala goes forward. So they have some guests that come on. They talk about this. We have the CEO of Meals on Wheels Atlanta's there. We have someone from the Purse Foundation, and it's very nice. It's very good. It's a very good. It's a very good event. Okay, lots of important people there. People gave money to charities. Okay.
Yeah, and Portia gives a speech because her grandfather is like a big guy was a big guy in like the fundraising and charity space. Rights. So yes. She has Portia up, and Portia's like, well, I would just, I would like to thank all of the railroads for actually being underground now in New York City. Thank you, New York City, for making me less stupid. Thank you. So then we move on to fighting, which is what it's really about. So Shamia's like, I didn't want this group to change the dynamic of my friendship with Portia because she's my person. And so they all console Portia. She cries about Londi and stuff. And then Britt's like, yeah,
it's okay. Take a deep breath, best friend. You're my best friend, right? Come on, I'm here for you as your best friend. I'm like, Shamia. Hey, Portia, do you want to board on my plane?
Cynthia says, I love that no matter what we're going through, when one of us is in need, we all come together. I love that she ourselves. I know, exactly. We make it about ourselves. Also, like, I love the excessive pats on the back for just doing the most basic human thing. Like someone's like close relative died and they're like, look at the good we do. Consoling someone when they're dealing with death.
This is a sisterhood when saying, I'm sorry that your cousin died. Wow.
Yeah.
We've really earned it. So now Cynthia's like, who's missing over here? Drew and Phaedra. Where could they be? And Portia's like, what do you mean? Like the whole half the people? Because now there's all this drama because Angela is ready to start her drama for the finale.
So the ladies are all sort of sitting together in this one area, and Angela thanks them for coming and etc. And she goes, well, as you guys are all aware, the other day at Kelly's event, I was ambushed by a gentleman. So Kelly went over there and proposed a toast to the guy. And you know what, Kelly? I still find it odd that it would happen in the middle of your event. J'accuse! But not you. Twist. I bet you thought I was going to come for you. I didn't. My husband, when I told him, he was like, that doesn't add up. Who invited him? And, I didn't have you and I didn't have the best relationship, and I wasn't certain if you had sent to someone. And Britt's like,
Well, no, I mean, I'm a married woman, so at the end of the day, I would never want to sabotage you, especially when I'm busy looking at private planes that I'm definitely gonna buy.
Yeah, I just wanted to make all I was worried about was fitting my new Bentley inside of my new plane. I couldn't have been me. I love the sanctity of marriage. So,
At the end of the day,
You get nothing for nothing.
I was hoping you would say you get private planes for nothing, but that's fine too. We've had our differences, but I'm married.
I just love that Angela is teasing this out. She's like, she keeps like pointing the finger, like, it was you, but it wasn't you, but it was you.
It was that
wasn't
Shonda
you.
Rhimes show on Netflix. Like everybody is guilty until the season finale, It's like this episode, the chef's guilty. That episode, the secretary is guilty. So she's doing that in speed up mode.
I just participated in my first ever murder mystery dinner party over the weekend, and it definitely was like pretty much almost identical to this scene. It was like, it definitely wound up with all of us accusing each other, like, but you wanted the money, but you were angry that he liked someone else. It was basically just Angela moving her finger around and accusing everyone.
Yeah, and Britt's like,
I respect marriage, but the finger is definitely pointing in Kelly's direction.
so she's like, yeah, well, I think Drew and I finally got to the bottom of it. And Drew's like, we found out it wasn't even true.
Who invited him? Who hired him? I don't know. Where is he? So then Drew stands up to get him, and Portia's like,
Why would you want to bring the guy who talked about your husband to the group to explain your husband cheating on you? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
but Angela has proven this season that, like, clearly the producers say to her, hey, you should do this. And she does this. Like that trip to Nashville, everything. And so she's just like, sure, I'll bring this messy queen in at the finale at my charity dinner.
Yeah, her initial response to all this was, that's bullshit. I don't believe that. We all know it's a lie. Why even give it air? And then the next episode, she's like, I'm hunting him down, and I'm going to get him to write on a piece of paper who did it.
Because he was lying before, but now he's definitely telling the truth. So they bring in this guy, Marcus. He's like a kindergartner with like a juice box. Like, Marcus, do you want to say something to the group? Come on, Marcus.
And he's like, you guys
like
gonna
all
have my
timid.
back? You guys gonna have my back? You guys gonna have my back? Oh my God.
He's all nervous. He's like, hi. But Charles sees this, and Charles did not know about these shenanigans. And so he's like, no, you gotta go. He's like, get the fuck out of here. You disrespected my wife. Yeah, get your motherfucking ass out of here.
And he's
Get
like,
out of
I
here.
have to leave. I have to leave. And he's like, you disrespected my wife, so get your motherfucking ass out of here. Get out of here. No, he's got to go.
Charles.
No,
Charles.
No, he's out of here.
Charles.
He disrespected you that
And
other
I'm
time,
gonna
right?
do a scene.
No, he's out.
No, but
he's
it'll be
out.
good.
No,
Good
it's like,
TV.
trust me. Angela's screaming, trust me, Charles. Now they're screaming at each other in the middle of this event.
She's like, I'm trying to have a season finale scene, Charles.
Girl, you were just in therapy talking about communication, and you don't even tell your husband you're bringing somebody to his Meals on Wheels event. Like,
You didn't warn your husband about a stunt? You should have to. So then Marcus is like, Charles, I apologize to you. I apologize to your wife, and I truly said that I was sorry. I am sorry, Charles. I am here to speak the truth now. I am sorry. And he's like, you disrespected me as a man. So then
well, that's
eventually,
good. I'm glad he didn't disrespect you as a bird. What does that mean?
I kind of wish he did disrespect him as a bird. Why don't you,
You
fly more?
disrespected me as an eagle, and I
Hey.
will never stand for that.
Good luck trying to get on the Atkins diet, Mr. Breadcrumb Eater.
So they're like, oh my God, that guy better get out of Charles's face. He'll lay him out, And they're all laughing because this is crazy. And they're talking about how his reputation in the NBA is as the enforcer. And they're like, they're going to enforce his ass right onto the floor, So all the ladies are loving this. And the little gay is just wailing like, I said I was sorry.
sorry, Charles. I said I was sorry. Please come to Chop Stop. Come to Chop Stop.
Yeah, eventually Charles is like, you're fucking lucky. You're lucky because I'm going to let my wife do her scene, but I'm out. Take this fucking mic off of me. I don't want to do this shit anymore. So they got it.
Charles, she goes, Charles, I wanted to clear my name. And he goes, it wasn't the police with handcuffs. My name is Clear.
So then they take Marcus. They're like, okay, sweetie, okay, sit down. Do you want anything? Do you want a snack? You want a little you want a granola bar? You want a juice box? Like, yes, please. Okay, now that was scary, but there's somebody in this circle that is not happy with Angela. And who is that? Okay. And Shamia's like, okay, you need to say who it is. Okay, sweetie, you want to say it? Are you comfortable saying it? He's like, it's Phaedra. And everyone's like, what? Phaedra?
And Angela's like, Phaedra, how could you do some shit like that? And Phaedra's like, what? And Britt goes,
it wasn't Phaedra. It wasn't Phaedra.
And Phaedra's like, what are you talking about? And Britt's like, we need proof.
We need proof.
And Marcus goes, Phaedra is the godfather in Atlanta.
She goes, the godfather of what? My mother taught me to keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Well, I mean, that's kind of a godfather-y thing to say. And
well, that's why she's saying it. She's doing the line from The Godfather. She's like, my mother taught me to keep your friends close. Like she's doing the lines from The Godfather. And Marcus is like, she controls Atlanta. She goes, what? What are you talking about? And he's like, I'm just nervous to speak my truth. The Godfather's going to come get me. Horse head in my bed. Horse head in my bed.
Phaedra's like, of course, blame me. I'm an easy target. But girl, I absolutely have no reason to put anybody up to this nonsense. I already have had my marriage destroyed on national TV, so there's no way in hell I would come for anyone else's marriage. Marcus, I trusted you. You're my brother. She kisses him on the cheek.
So Marcus is like, the tea was dropped to me at Phipps Plaza the Monday before the event. And Phaedra goes, you've never met me. You're crazy. And he goes, you dropped it off to me. And she goes, dropped off what? And he says, the envelope. And she says, what envelope? With the info, the envelope with the info. Why are you pretending like you haven't seen this movie? And she goes, what info though? And so, and Cynthia goes, now I know that Auntie Phaedra left no receipt, like a whole envelope. She's not going to do that. Phaedra's sneaky, but she's good sneaky,
Yeah. Like if Phaedra didn't get caught with that whole mess with Apollo going to jail, she's not going to get caught with a messy Marcus. So
I mean,
Portia's
at least with the stuff that happened with Candy, Phaedra had motive. You know what I mean? Phaedra was like, okay, well, this girl's like besties with Apollo and hiding all of his shit from the FBI in her garage. And she's doing a lot of shit a best friend shouldn't be doing. Now, her revenge was despicable, of course. No one's going to stand up for Phaedra's revenge. But if you're looking at it from a crime point of view, she had a means, an opportunity, and a motive. There was a reason. And in this, she's like, I don't even know this girl. What the fuck do I care about her and her shitty marriage?
Yeah, there's something does not seem right about this. So Portia's like, she's like,
the only thing I heard Phaedra say about Charles is that he likes to have a good time. So I don't see why she would have it up for Angela. I mean, she just got here. She went on one trip and now she's been framed.
And Britt goes, so she reached out to you? And he goes, we have a connect. And so they all start laughing because it's so ridiculous. And Angela goes, yeah, and tell us who the connect is. Say the name that you guys know. And he goes, yeah, his name is Junebug. And they all start cracking up. They're like, Junebug. And Shamia goes, Drew, did you write this? Or did you just act in it? Got it. Tubi.
Angela like, who's Junebug? And Portia goes,
that's an actor's name if I ever heard one. Who the hell's Junebug? You know what? This is all the team that Todd Tucker came up with.
And then we see a flashback to Aunt Bertha saying like, well, it could have been a scheme that Todd set up for him to come to you with the bullshit. And then she like spins around like she just came up to solve something.
Come to you with the bullshit.
Marcus is like, I promise that's the truth. You guys don't want to hear the truth. I am done with it. I am out of here. You can't handle the truth. So Cynthia is like, well, shit, that could be any of our cousins. I mean, everybody's got a Junebug around here somewhere.
I was dying laughing. This was so good. And so Phaedra's like, "What? Why would I have a beef with you?" And Angela goes, "Maybe because I have a ring." And Phaedra goes, "What ring do you have that I would want?" She goes, "Marriage." And she goes, "You think I want your marriage?" And she goes, "Well, you want a marriage, Phaedra, because you tried to come in between mine." And she's like, "You did it. You sent him." And no one is believing that. This is so crazy. Listen, Phaedra is not a trustworthy witness, but Marcus is the most unreliable narrator anyway. She had someone named Junebug meet you in Phipps Plaza with an envelope that said Charles was cheating in your restaurant. Why would you need an envelope with information if you saw somebody cheating in your restaurant? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, the envelope
An envelope of money to say that somebody was. He's so stupid. Marcus, get out of here. You know what happens to snitches, don't you?
No.
But let's find out.
They get riches. So Angela's like, "This is your character. I know the moves you play, and the level that you're playing at is kind of low because I trusted you and I liked you." Oh, Phaedra goes, "Well, and I liked you too, but you're accusing me of something with no proof. In The Godfather, it says, 'Beware of the person who brings you the information, Phaedra,' and you gave me everything. You gave me everything." So the producer's like, "Well, how did you receive Marcus's full name and work information?" So Angela says, "Phaedra called me and she said, 'You know the guy who approached you? I do remember him. She said she has the memory of an elephant, and his name was Marcus such and such, and she said he worked in such and such, and she gave me the information, and his restaurant was called such and such kitchen. So I got to the bottom of such and such.'"
And Phaedra goes, "It's because he introduced himself at the event in front of us." It wasn't information that I came up with. I just remembered the event when he said his name and the restaurant he works at. And she's like, "I don't know that man from Adam's House Cat. It wasn't my event." You know, the real person is the person who made the guest list and allowed him in, which I think makes more sense. I mean, I think it was probably, if it was anybody, it was Kelly. It was her event. And Kelly's also the one that went up and initiated a cheers with him after he did that. So she was the one that tried to keep it going. So if anybody is at fault here, it would be Kelly. But I don't even believe Kelly did it, really.
Or it's just a messy producer. It could just be something.
It's just Eric Fuller back there trying to make something fucking happen on another season he's fucking up. Is it Eric Fuller? I'm going to see, because I'm accusing that poor man if it's not.
I thought they removed him from the show because he fucked it up so badly. I mean, he fucked up this show and Potomac, I believe. Allegedly. So Angela is like, "All the roads lead to Phaedra." And Phaedra goes, "You're researching, but you're failing to tell us that you're in foreclosure," which has literally nothing to do with this. And she goes, "That's not," she goes, that ain't no tea, sis. "I will tell you everything I'm going through, honey, and I will get it out of it. But because what it is one failed friendship after group to another. And here you are doing the same shit you did with the old friends." Clearly referencing Married to Medicine, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it looks like Eric Fuller did not do this season of this. So sorry, Eric Fuller. I don't know who I'm supposed to be yelling at now. Somebody tell me so I can yell properly during the reunion.
To know
whoever it is fucking it up.
Oh, Schmerick Luller. Wait a second. It's just Eric Fuller with a mustache on. It's like a mustache and monocle. No, I'm not related to him at all.
Yeah, so Angela's like, "You know, you're walking around here like you think you got your shit together, but do you even let your kids visit their father?" And she's like, "They do all the time. What are you talking about?" She goes, "Are you sure? Because you're a horrible person. You're a horrible person."
"Are you sure? Because you are a horrible person." So Shamia's like, "In my spirit, I'm feeling like the prime suspect is Britt Eady. Angela, you told the girl she had stretch marks on her mouth."
Britt makes sense too.
Yeah, Britt would be messy like this. I think
Britt's the one trying to like make the housewives storylines go and start fights all the time and just overdoing every single thing and like filming on her private plane, which she doesn't own. I mean, Britt is really the one trying to do all the housewife stuff. And so Phaedra's like, "Well, I don't have anything to do." Although I don't believe that anybody did it, really. I mean, even that's how tricky this queen is, making us doubt everybody on the show. Like, The person I trust the least on this show is this Marcus bitch. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
He didn't earn a spot on this show. You did not audition. Get out. Wheel him out.
Yeah, I think he's thirsty. I think he wanted to have a moment of fame. I think that's what he's going for. I think he's ready to do the whole like podcast, social media circle. He's gonna be I'm sure popping up on YouTube, giving his side of the story. Like just watch. This guy is in it to be famous, so I don't trust anything.
Yeah,
I mean, they're all in it to be famous, to be fair, but he's even more.
Yeah, but they're at least on the
shameless.
show. They're doing their job. You know, he's just some fucking weirdo trying to get attention. So I think Portia has it right when she says,
I think Angela did it to herself. Fight me at the reunion, bitch.
So Angela's like, well, I'm sad that we ended on this note. Well, you did it, Angela. Everything was fine until you brought out Marcus, and then you started to accuse everyone.
Angela, the queen of making every situation awkward with some weird accusation. So now we get the after season update things, and Kelly has closed the doors on her marriage, and she's preparing to open new doors for Sandy Springs Nana's Chicken and Waffles in spring or summer 2025. She'll be double checking the guest list for the grand opening. Oh, update, it is not opened.
That was an update by Jessica, our note taker, who did some good research there. Shamia is, I guess Shamia is the next one. I don't know. It's just they're basically just like all now squabbling now. It's like a lot of squabbling, and it goes back and forth between like updates, etc.
Well, now it's Shamia and Britt
Shamia's
fighting,
complaining about Britt.
and their fighting is so it makes no sense still. You know, and so Britt's saying that she was faking the daughter being sick, and Shamia's like, you said I was faking her being sick. She goes,
No, I never said that she was faking it.
yes, you did. You literally said that, so I don't trust you either because you're pointless. You know,
Yes.
you say
And
one
Shamia's
thing
like-
and then deny it the next 2 minutes later. Like,
Right. And Shamia's saying, you threaten people with guns. That's what you do, you whore. And Britt's like, I'm not doing this with them. So now we see Britt is using her clean slate to open a new insurance agency. She's also working hard to release Bare and Naked so that the masses can be snatched, just like her. What was Bare and Naked also? She mentioned at one point. I don't even remember what that even was. It's such a
it
generic
was her
name.
shapewear.
Okay. It was so
Remember,
such
she
a
came out
generic
with
name.
shapewear and she put up like a before and after, but they were the exact same picture. And she's like, see
How different I look there? I was inspired by getting my baby all in Brazil.
Yeah. Then we see Drew's album, I Did It to Me.
That reminds me of my mom. I've told you the story before, but my mom wanted a facelift and my dad was like, I'm not getting you a facelift. That's ridiculous. So she like saved up her money and she finally gets a facelift. She, you know, you're covered like a zombie. So she finally wanted to see it. And they always tell you, do not go take off your own bandages. Don't do it. But my mom did. And my dad just heard a wailing. And he runs down thinking like, oh my God, what's going on? And she's just in the bathroom screaming, I'm a monster. And I did it to me. And all these years later, Drew named her album that. I'm going to get that from my mom.
I did it to me. While her music career is on high, her relationship with Ralph is still on a low as he continues to reside in his basement apartment in the sky, with an end to the divorce nowhere in sight. Is her music career on a high right now? I'm not sure, but God bless.
And I get the George Jefferson reference here, but it still didn't make much sense. He continues to reside in his basement apartment in the sky.
Yeah. And also Ralph has literally never moved on up. Ever.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe he did. Actually, you know, when he married Drew Sidora, he moved on up because Drew was famous before the show and has like she's a known entity. So Ralph did move on up then, but now he's. If they were to make the Jeffersons about Ralph, it'd be so we're stagnating. I think that's what the vibe would be.
So then we go to Shamia's like I don't know. Shamia's still pissed off at Britt. So then we see while baby Shiloh continues to make progress, Shamia has a new surrogate and will welcome a baby soon. Her single Never Had was released in March 2025. She hopes that listeners don't talk over it this time. They will. And then Angela is like, thank you, Phaedra. Hope you enjoyed yourself. And they just smile at each other. And then we see that Phaedra's booked and busy and adding more jobs to her resume until her boys retire her. Meanwhile, her chocolate prince, Gigi, is still satisfying her sweet tooth. Mascarpone.
And then Angela sold 3 houses, but 2 have unfortunately been lost.
What
However,
does that mean they've been lost?
I'm assuming foreclosed on, or I don't know, maybe they burned down, or maybe they're like, wait, wasn't the house at this address? No.
It doesn't make
where
any
was
sense. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know where that house is. I guess we lost it.
Did she sell them at a loss? That would make sense. Or did she just let them go into foreclosure and let the banks take them? Because that's crazy.
It was such a dramatic, I think it was that they were foreclosed on, but such a dramatic way to say it. 2 of them have unfortunately been lost.
Yeah, but now she's coming out with Fangie, a line of fans.
Fangie, oh, I get it. And no word on when she and Charles will renew their vows. Please don't, because that's going to be the end of your marriage. And so then, now Portia and Cynthia are talking. And Cynthia's saying, Britt told Shamia that she told you, and I had a conversation with Shamia. They're basically just talking about Shamia and stuff.
Well, because Portia's like, why are you going to go try and start another fight with me and Shamia? I already knew that Shamia said that stuff, and I didn't care. I was going to let it go. So, and Cynthia's like, well, listen, I'm just a friend of, and that's my job. She's like, whatever. Okay, fine. I forgive you. So then, Portia's like, whatever. I'm fine with Shamia. And that's my ending. So Portia... we get the ending with Portia because we started with Portia running outside. Remember when she put on her sneakers and she went running outside, and everybody was like, Portia does not go running. I'm sorry. And she certainly does not go running outside. So we get a more realistic ending, which is Portia running on her treadmill at home, And we remember she had to run outside because she couldn't film in her home, but now she can.
Yeah, because the divorce has sort of gone through-ish, and she says,
I can't
Simon's
tell
been
how
deported. How are you going to keep somebody out of your house when you've been deported?
yeah. She's like,
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to film in my home. Wow, we still have to move forward, but now we can film in my home.
which would have been more exciting if they had just tried to keep that thread going through the season. I was like, oh yeah, I guess that was a thing. I don't know if we needed to pick the cameras back up 5 months later to see this, but that's cool. So nice. The house looks nice. So
nothing feels as safe as living in a house that you could be kicked out of any moment. So that's good. So we see her happy in her about to be gone house, and then see that Simon was detained by ICE. Dun dun dun.
leaving the divorce on ice. ICE. Wow. So thanks a lot, ICE, for, among all the other things that you're ruining, for now interrupting a Housewives storyline.
Fuck ICE.
They really can't do anything right. They are just the worst in so many different ways. Now they're even fucking up the Housewives storylines.
Although Simon, a broken clock is right. A couple times a day you got Simon. No one was a fan of Simon at this point, I think, on this show. But still, fuck you guys.
Fuck guys.
So that was that for Atlanta season 17. Was this season 17? Which is crazy.
Yeah, season 16. So there's going to be this reunion coming up after the July 4th weekend. So we will look forward to that. And thanks everyone for being here for the season finale.
We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.